Welcome back, everyone. In this episode, we're going to talk about SEO from the ground up and how it connects with the backlinking process. And without a good SEO foundation in our websites, backlinking is not going to help us. We'll go through the process. We'll talk about GSA a little bit, Search Engine Ranker, and we'll use a real-world example that one of the guys in the community asked me to help him out with a little bit, and cover some ground about, good practices, bad practices, and what you need to know, because I think there's a lot of things people are asking me that have come into the community or they're new to the channel. They haven't had a chance to watch all the other videos. Perhaps some don't apply, and there's some key points or takeaways that I've talked about in videos I'll need to go over again in this video. So, that being said, I'm your host, Big Dom. This is Dark Marketing. Let's get started. Okay, everyone, this is the website, psychedelicdreamscape.com, and this is a website of a client or a friend, I forget which, but one of the guys in the community. And just to give you some background on the context of the conversation, started in relation to doing backlinks, and he was using GSA, and we were discussing some of his issues, and we got to a point where I asked him, well, have you tried using Money Robot? And he said, yes, I ran Money Robot for like 2 months and I got nothing. Now, he was a little frustrated because he had a very low volume of links with GSA. And actually, yesterday he only had 85 showing. But upon analyzing those links, they were actually pretty decent. And what he was doing right was actually scraping for his backlinks, and it was going slow. And he's using GSA Search Engine Indexer along with the URL Redirect Pro. But remember, everyone, when you're indexing your backlinks, it's going to take a little bit of time, especially with GSA products, because it's not a direct indexing. It is creating posts that will get indexed. And there's going to be a time process behind that. So a lot of times the work we do today, it's not for today. It's for 2 weeks from now, and 4 weeks from now, and 6 weeks, and even 8 weeks. It's going to step in. And how much it steps in is going to depend on how active you are with your indexing. So that being said, today he's got 331. And so I didn't have a chance to look to see are these some things he did with Money Robot previously, or they're just the GSA starting to kick in? But when I saw only 85 backlinks and this small UR and DR value, I went back and asked him, this is a brand new website, isn't it? And he said yes. The guy's only been up about 2 months, and so that is a factor. And a common thing for me when people come, to SEO Depot looking for backlinking services, frequently they are new startups and they've only been up, a month, 2 months, and that's a little bit soon to get started. However, he's kind of far enough along in the sense that he has a lot of, this is basically a shopping site for all these types of psychedelic edibles. But immediately, once I realized it was a new site and took a look, because I thought, my first line of thinking was, all right, he must be doing something with Money Robot wrong. Let me just see if I can set up a quick campaign for him and use it as a way to approach it the right way. But when I stopped, took a look at the website, took a look at the backlinks, there are problems, okay? Aside from the fact that it's still a new site, okay, this menu, this is clearly not correct format. So I said, you got to really try to do something with that. He had some issues with the footers, and even today there's a lot more new content. This was not here yesterday, and what I did is took a look at the site and I ran a scan, and I saw that most of the pages had no descriptions, and the meta descriptions and the titles were very generic. For example, it was just whatever the product was. Like, this is Mimostal Hostels. The title was by Mimostal Hostels. And you see that here in these pages. So right now, he's working to fill in content because, see this? This was not here yesterday, all this information. I said, you got to have some meat and potatoes in there along with your keywords to to take hold. And if we look at the other example on the page, this is how they all looked. This is how a lot of his pages look right now. There's really nothing here for Google or search engines to grab onto. And one correct thing, this is the heading 1 text on all the pages. So what I basically advised him is the first thing you need to do is get your content filled in. And that is what they are doing here now. Getting some nice tangible content that has the words that we're talking about that people are going to search for these products. And because Google is not going to use, the title tags. You see up here when I put my mouse, you see what this says, Mimosa Hostilis Archives. That is just sort of the default script title. It's like something like, when you just have these default, these are placeholders. This will pull the title of the page, page name, okay? That's not what you want. You want to get nice, rich titles in there. So what I advised them is, your title should be 3 pieces. It should look like this. Okay, wait, let me get this, let me open this up on something so we could take a look at how an actual editor works. So just very briefly, I use Rank Math for all my SEO plugins, for all of my websites. Yoast is another common one, okay? And so, you have the ability to, do like bulk editing, which is nice. So you can edit descriptions and you can edit titles. And what I recommended, like for a lot of the titles, is to break them into 3 keyword phrase groups. This works really well. For example, let me get something open here that I can just kind of paste it up. Okay, let me do it this way. This is just a duplicate of my home page so that I don't actually alter my own home page. And one of the things I like about Rank Math, I use the Divi Builder, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And it integrates the Rank Math right into the builder options here, so I can make edits to my meta information. Okay? So when I click on here, we see the defaults that get put in here. But that's not what I want. Like in his example here, I want this, right? That's my first main keyword. So in my particular case, that's what I'm going for. That's what I'm going to want to put here. And then what I like to do is separate it with a breaker bar. And then I might want to take the next 3 most popular variations or similar and I don't know what they are off the top, off the top of my head or anything, but just using it as an example. And use 3 things. In fact, let's just go back at his page. Oh, okay, look, yeah, Mimosa, inner root. And it's Mexican too. That's good. See? Like sometimes you want to just take your variations. This might be fine, but I might want to just go like this. I might want to leave that by, if that's a popular term. Or I might want to do this, inner root. Or I might even want to add Mexican in there. I don't worry about what these things are telling me here, okay? When we're talking about SEO with Google, Google is not going to display this. Google's going to take, based on what the user searches for, the most relevant thing, and most likely it should be your heading 1 tag, that first piece of text that appears on your page here. And that's what he's got, okay, in my scans. All of the first text on his page are marked heading 1. The other thing is, you got to have a good description. And generally, that should be the first piece of text. It doesn't have to be. And just to get started, that's a good approach. But frequently, I really embellish my descriptions, okay? And we can talk about that too, but let's go over here. And then what I want to do is, I want to paste that description in here, because by default, it'll just take the first text like an excerpt. And now I've got my description, my titles, and my description in my my SEO titles and keywords, okay? And that is the solid approach that I take. The rest is in the content, really. When you're getting your content together, you want to make sure, you want to be thinking about it and looking for the way to word things that have the searchable words in here of what you're going to look for. And sometimes you want to know what people are searching for, because that's what we got Ahrefs for. And we want to maybe go use the Keyword Explorer and go to Google. Oh. And let's take and I like this example because I never heard of this. I don't know what this is. So when I search it, I want to know, well, what are the most popular searches that go with it? Okay, and here they are. Okay, so these might be what I want. I might want that in my title, right? See, he's got inner root, but we know that root bank is more searchable. So you might want to work those words in here. When you start looking at what people are actually searching for by volume and which are your best matches, you want to get some of this in your content. This looks like a good one. Doesn't have to be in the title, but you've already got these words in your title, and now you got maybe these words in your title. Now you've got it in the document, USA vendor, other top search phrases. You want to learn to work naturally into your text, okay? Now, you're not the best at doing your own write-ups all the time. You know your marketplace, but you're not a literary genius. You're not a writer, but you know how to talk about your products. Well, that's where ChatGPT comes in. ChatGPT is your companion tool. It is your assistant for everything. Now, a very simplistic example is I can take this text, come over here to ChatGPT, and tell ChatGPT, I need this paragraph rewritten with heavy emphasis on the keyword, or it could be keywords, but I could just, in this case, let me go back over here. Take this, back over here, say keyword, tell a quote. Then I'll put colon, go back, grab this paragraph. So like I said, it's just a simple example. I don't know what we're going to get here because this is not necessarily my cup of tea, in the sense that I'm not really familiar with the context of psychedelics and the verbiage that they use. But we'll get a nice write-up. And you can take somebody else's content and ask it to rewrite. If you're starting from scratch, you don't know how to describe your own products, ChatGPT will help you, okay? Then once we got that, and maybe that is what I want to take, and just when I come back over here and I'm using my plugin and I want to put my description in, I want my description to be more rich than the description that I may have to subscribe to in my document. Understand? So now I've got a little more better keyword emphasis there. And this, look, getting your content to read the best, it's a journey. There are things you could do. You can do these one piece at a time. You can take an entire page and ask ChatGPT to rewrite it for you. But this is pretty good. I mean, a lot of this stuff, this is going to work just beautiful right out of the box. I could see just looking at some of the terminologies in here. Another thing, see this? Interlinking. Very important with keywords. So let's just take a look at that. Okay, this is going someplace else. I guess that's where you're going to actually purchase. But within a site, internal key linking, internal ranking is very important. So these don't look like these are internal links, but there are going to be a lot of opportunities in this site to create links to these pages, okay? And now that's one thing. So that's sort of the basic approach to getting started. Got to have a good title and good descriptions and nice solid content that has the keywords that you want this to score well for under Google, okay? Now a better approach would have probably been for me to tell ChatGPT not to just lace it with the single phrase, but with all 3 phrases that I wanted to use in my title. And then once I've rewritten a nice description for my meta description with those 3 words, phrases heavily saturated in here, place it into here. Because it's important to remember, when we go to Google, let's do this one, buy. Let's take this buy Mimoso Hostilis. And let's go to Google. Let's just search that. And we can look at who comes up. And it's important to understand that whatever Google is showing here on the first thing is not necessarily the description, the title that's in the tags, but rather the H1 text, heading text that's on the page. Also, the description, it will put whatever it wants in the description. So you must consider that your meta title and meta description information is just to give Google extra reference and reinforcement. Sometimes it will use it, sometimes not. But that's where you really want to lay things on the heaviest. And of course, you can look at your competitors and how they talk about things, right? And take some of their descriptions and ideas and rework them back into ChatGPT, okay? So just trying to give you a little insight into, you know, how to develop your mental mechanic when you're trying to do your on-site SEO, and in this case, in the context of really a shopping site. And that's what this is. This is, in fact, it is a shopping site. So, now, this is why it's very important, because many people put the cart before the horse. And all the backlinks in the world aren't going to do this website any good. In fact, it's only going to do harm until the main pieces are in place that provide, you know, content and context for Google and other search engines. Otherwise, that backlinking, it's not doing anything except putting probably an anchor around someone's neck over time. Fortunately, he's right in the beginning, and there's no real harm in the rates of anything that's going on. And in fact, in my original look at his first backlinks that he got, actually had some high DR value, which means he's actually running GSA the right way, okay? Not trying to get tons of backlinks, but rather trying to get links of a certain value. And I told him, make sure you set your GSA so it doesn't post to anything with a PR value less than 5. That gives you a little safe margin so you don't wind up posting, because GSA can post you in bad places too. And you don't want that because it's finding them on their own. And scraping for those sites is much like scraping in the process of using GSA website contact when you're searching and scraping for sites to find contact forms in a specific genre or niche. Same thing with GSA Search Engine Ranker. But we have to have all the basic pieces for SEO to work with the major search engines. Good titles, descriptions, and learning to work that content up. Now, another important thing is images. And see, these images are much more high value because they are their own images. They're original images, not stock footage purchased off of Shutterstock or Envato Market or some other photo resource, because all of those stock footage, Google knows. Google knows every stock footage image that exists. Make no mistake about it. And so images that are original photos are going to do better in image search results. And this is why it's important. You want to have image alternative and image title text. Now see, when I put my mouse over here, I don't see anything. I need to see Mimosa Hostiles Interroute Bank, bark should be showing up or something along those lines. Now, in a WordPress site, I don't know what the format is here, but very quickly, another issue here is he's got this PHP, index.php, showing up in his path for all pages. So it's something they got to get fixed. And that really needs to be fixed so that backlinks don't go to this, but rather a path that the real path should look like that. And that's what the backlinks are going to need to go to, which is why I told them, hold up on doing any backlinks. Let the guys for the website take a few days and get all of this filled in and with the right information, because all of this buy now, that's not really going to help with the ranking results. But they are off and running, because as we can see, this wasn't here yesterday, and voila, that's beautiful. A nice big piece of rich content to work with. Now, that being said, when it comes to the images, I don't have access to this site, so I can't show you through that. I use Divi, WordPress. When you go to WordPress and you pick out on an image, you have these fields that you can fill in over here. And you want to have the description of your image, which in his case is the name of that product, your caption, a nice description. For example, on my homepage, if we go here, even though I'm in editor mode, watch what happens. You see that information that pops up? That is the description that I have filled in. And one of the things I like about Divi is there's like a little extra boost here. Because here under attributes, I can put the image alternative text here, and you can see image title text that I filled in some nice keyword rich information. But that does not cover in here when you set it in here. So you want to be redundant, because the reason is when Google and other search engines actually crawl your website, they do it differently sometimes. Sometimes they crawl the WordPress structure, and sometimes they crawl the pages directly. And when Google crawls a WordPress structure, it's going to get all of the info out of the back end of WordPress. And that includes even your menu information. And the reason I bring that up is because I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks of things maybe before the video's over of what I do with Divi and why I like the Divi builder so much. Not just from a design and management aspect, but for SEO, okay? Now, for you guys with new websites or clients with new websites that fall right in this zone where they're just really in their infancy and we haven't hit the 3-month mark yet, this is prep time. So, understanding that we need to have good title structure, description, rich content on the pages, images that are well marked up, always better when you got your own. You've got a solid basis of content to start the process, okay? Now, this process that I'm outlining is more for like fixed sites. It doesn't really apply to blog pages. It's a little different approach with that, and that's because posts work differently than pages do inside WordPress, and we'll talk about that at some point. But for the context of this video and what we're doing here, the next advice, while they're getting their content filled in and markup done properly and all the titles, the next thing to do is every site hits its apex. No matter whether you're unless you're a blog site and you're constantly adding on that approach, whether you sell products or you're a shopping site or some company that displays products, just like my semiconductor industry clients, they don't sell the products on their websites. They don't have stores, but the products are listed and in great detail. Same approaches that work for psychedelic works for everyone, okay? Same mechanic that I apply. So, at any point we reach, you're going to become finite, and that's when you need blogs. Now, his blogs aren't ready. He doesn't actually have any real blogs here, but the opportunity here for him to create blogs is, pretty much endless, because he could take his Mimosa Hillis and let's just take this, and we can come back over here to ChatGPT and say new chat, and I'm using the AIPRM Chrome extension. If you guys don't know what that is and you're not using ChatGPT, you need to get using this. It's very easy. ChatGPT is free, but for $20 a month, you don't get locked out when there are too many people using it. You get extended, better use of the ChatGPT 4. If you just Google AIPRM, you just add the extension. It's a 1, 2, 3 skidoo. You get all of these prompts, and there's thousands of them. And if I just filter by blog, I could say the one-click blog post, tell it what I want, and I said, I want to know, I need the benefits, just keep it simple for this video, the benefits of, boom, mimosa hostilis. And this thing will write me a blog. And then, of course, you know, that's another science, getting in here with ChatGPT to help it get you the right thing. This is nice because it gives you like a lot of nice keywords and stuff that you may want to use in the actual post when you create blog content. But that's where we want to go now, is making blog content, especially the first 3 months. You want to get 24 to 30 blog articles up. And it's nice if you've got 3 or 4 that talk about the same type of product, say, potentially, but from a different perspective. And this helps you develop topical authority. And in those blogs, there's lots of opportunities for you to link to the actual product with the keywords and anchor text. Get it? Keywords, anchor text, that is the eye of the needle that we are continuously threading from one needle to the next. We start with our website, but even though that's our starting point, it's also our end point. It's where we want the end result to land. So when we go to do our backlinking, now we've got a nice thorough process of a quality backlink that we do with, say, any product, whether you're using Money Robot, Ranker X, GSA Search Engine Ranker, and you start driving the backlinks to this with your content, having nice, you know, the keywords about these products and the descriptive things that you've been working into the content on your website. That is what's going to make your backlinking work. So, that being said, in that first 3 months, you want to really try to amp up with the blogs. Get 24 to 30 in. That's my magic number for a nice basic start. The other thing you need to do to accelerate things is jump on some social media platforms. Whatever your preferred ones are, Twitter, which is now X, Facebook, if you do a Facebook page, I recommend Pinterest and Tumblr. These are really good for blogs. Okay, and you get yourself about 4 or 5. So this way too, every time you're making a blog post, you want to be flipping that blog post up, tweeting that post out, getting that out there. And it's not about including that into your backlinking stuff necessarily. That's another topic. But just that those social signals, they will get picked up. Google is completely conscious of all this activity that goes on that it doesn't display. It takes that and will contribute to your ranking data. And so when you suddenly are only like, now you're crossing the 3-month mark, and from 3 to 6 months suddenly building backlinks, it's got to fit the metrics. You've got the blog articles to support it that you're going to be backlinking to. Now, in a shopping site, this is going to be a great site to both backlink the actual pages and backlink blogs. So this way, he may have a blog about, you know, he's going to have his thing about mushroom edibles, and he'll have certain blog articles that are also linking back to it. And this is where the real tiering magic is, that when you're backlinking posts that you've created have backlinks that are going to take you up to the unlocking the potential. Let's see. I want to click on one of these. Ah, that's a nice one. Ooh, there's a zillion links on that. And this looks like a GSA post. Okay, that's enough. But fortunately, he's got a low number. It's not going to hurt him. But when you suddenly start, you know, get to a place where, hey, now you got 5,000, 10,000. You've got to have some supporting metrics. And look, oh look, he finally picked up a keyword. Well, he's down 19. But what will start to happen is, and very quickly, once at least Google, even though you're young, sees a lot of social media activity going on, sees that you have blog posts, and sees that it fits the metrics of other types of companies in your niche that you compete with. So in Google, what's that word? And of course, studying the competition, looking at other sites, taking their URL, running it through, doing a little analysis on the competitors to look at their metrics so that you start to match it. But this basic strategy pretty much is going to work for anybody, because what you really want to do is start to gain traction after 3 months and then gradually just inflate over time. You cannot fast track this. You don't want suddenly, 50,000 backlinks in like a month. You'll get penalized because Google knows that doesn't make sense. It's also measuring how these metrics build over time. That's why we have dates. If you notice, everything really is running on a clock over time. So it's taking that fact into account. Now, because this topic about this website just happened to coincide with my wanting to talk about SEO from the ground up, it came up under the context of us talking about GSA. Now, I don't know why his Money Robot posts are not posting. He says from 2 months ago. I'm going to have to reverse engineer whatever happened there. Once he's got all of his stuff straightened out, I'm going to do a test campaign for him with Money Robot just to make sure, and then I'll wind up talking to him and reverse engineering the process of what happened. There could be a very good reason why his post got removed, something he did wrong, I'm not sure. But of course, he went to GSA now, and he's not using a list. And if you're using GSA Search Engine Ranker for SEO, you don't want to be using a list. You want to be finding your own sources. And all of these platforms, get rid of them. Uncheck everything. All of this. Because that link that I clicked on previously, the backlink, that was a guest book post. And you saw on that page, it was about 1,000 of them. They don't really have a lot of value. And in here, you can actually tell the guest book setting not to post with anything with more than 50, which is probably the best number to at least. If they got more than 50, well, Google just sees that as just a spam page for guest books. So I get rid of all of that. The only thing I'm interested with this is articles and Web 2.0s. Now, that being said, there are lists of just that type of platform. For example, let me see if I can get it up here. I've got a couple of things running, but kind of in my way. See if I can get go here, tools. Here. See this company? SEO Engines. Here, you can get a list of Web 2.0 engines, okay? And basically, this is a nice deal. You can pay $14.95 a month. I buy it yearly. They give you an API key. And what you do is you basically add that API key under your options settings for this. I forget over here. Options, caption, advanced. I forget off the top of my head, but there's an option to add the API key, and what it's going to do, they have instruction, is it will add a new group of platforms on the left-hand side, and see all that? We want to get rid of, you don't want any of that. You want to run this as if it was like an X Ranker, or a Money Robot, or an SEO Autopilot. You're not getting all this stuff with those products, and that, understanding how to use these other things is a little bit of a science unto itself, which is why I tell people, unless you're doing affiliate marketing and you're just blitzing your crap out there and You don't have to worry about any negative SEO ramifications. That's a different ballgame. And that's an opportunity to learn from the processes and how to fine-tune the settings, because you see the dialogue is not very much here when I just have these few things checked. But if I start checking everything, this gets longer and longer and longer with much more fields to fill in, and those fields are for the other platforms. So getting a feel for these things really takes some time. And that's why I don't really recommend this for people to start out for SEO, because you really got to play it safe. Now the fact that my man did this with, oh no, it's the wrong one. When I looked at his backlinks with 85 yesterday, and I saw some of them, they had some pretty good high DR value. He's not far off the mark with his settings, but we really got to be careful. We don't want all of these things. And that's why I recommend SERS if you just want to expand, to add. They'll give you like, I think they had like 4 or half a dozen more checkboxes of Web.2 engines, and they'll appear on the left-hand side once you add the API key. You can use that key up to 3 instances of GSA Search Engine Ranker. So that's also a nice bonus. And that will give you the ability to run GSA the way you would like. And with GSA, you have even more control, because now you're not, remember, when you're running fixed platforms from sources, then what you're going to do is you're not going to scrape. You're going to change your settings. You're going to run from that list. But that's going to give you that ability to run safely to platforms, to make posts with blog articles that you create. You really can have a lot more even control over the aspect of those articles with GSA. But you must really be careful with this product, because it's so easy to make mistakes. You've got a lot more control over anchor text and keywords and how you plant and control ratios, and can do a lot of little things that help make it look more human a lot of times, which is very useful now in this world where we're utilizing AI content. So the ability to add a little bit of human error is a nice touch. That being said, guys, be very careful. Review my videos. When you're working with lists, those lists you buy from other people, they're okay for affiliate marketing. Please. The vast majority of that stuff, they're going to give you all these platforms. That's not going to do any good for you. And when you start appearing in all of these platforms, it's like, it's a red flag. Google's going to go, oh my God, who is this guy? I think he's kidding. And then boom, you go tanking. You got to learn to stay in your sphere. What makes this as a powerful product is that it can do so many platforms, but you really got to learn how to manipulate them and utilize them in a very slow, methodical process. Stick to the standard approach that I outline in all these videos about creating your content, managing your spin tags well, your anchor text and keywords. And I imagine I'm going to be doing a lot more short videos, things about how to really find your good keywords, some really good keyword approaches, things like that. I imagine there's quite a few topics I really need to touch on. And with my approach, I do them quickly. I don't want them to drag out, just like the last video. Just a quick topic, less than 10 minutes, but I really needed to cover that because it probably should have went at the end of the previous video. In any case, this gives you a really good indicator, because you need that solid content base with your website. Then when you start building the blog content, and Google wants things that are new. So you're constantly adding new content. You got that image factor going on. This guy, to me, has got a great potential website because it's large. He's got lots of content. There's lots of great stuff to work keywords and searchability off of with all of this. Just a couple of quick searches with some of the phrases I found. Oh, here, I already had it here. Like with the keywords, there's just a universe of stuff going on here to capitalize on in so many different ways. And you're not going to get everything on one web page, and that's where the world of blogs come in. Because with blogs, you can sort of break down into, maybe get your blog articles about some, subtopic of the main topic. And when you've got a couple of those that all point to a same or similar product, well, then what you got is you start developing topical authority, because Google and search engines recognize, hey, this guy has these products and he has articles that talk about these products and multiple articles that cover different aspects of it. And those are the types of relationships that Google's looking for in its complex algorithm. These topical, some of the most successful blogs, they are successful not because they have great content, but because they seem authoritative. They cover the range of topics under any given topic that make it seem like this is the source. You're going to find out everything you need to know because they talk about all the aspects of this topic here. You know, that is the thinking of Google, and that is what you want to bring into your thinking when you're structuring things, and make sure that the right information's in the right place, from the title and the description, meta title and meta description. Those are sort of your foundation places to heavily plant your keywords as a starter basis. But none of that is ever going to appear, like that 3-phrase scenario for titles is not going to appear up here. What's going to appear most likely is this. Okay? So, I think that covers it for that aspect of this. Now guys, obviously, I can't tell you exactly how to write your content because everybody's thing is unique. And if you're really, say, I don't know how to write, ChatGPT can help you at any level. But one thing I also can tell you, if you follow these approaches, is that more is better. The longer your page, the more content, the more images, and especially your own images, all marked up well, as I pointed out. Because longer pages are more engaging. The more time a user spends on a page is registered by Google, okay? And this is why, in my opinion, it's better to have Google Analytics than not have Google Analytics. Because there's going to be aspects of tracking user data that can only be acquired if you're using Google Analytics. Henceforth, I believe that you can do better with the Google algorithm by being in their system. I have a lot of videos coming up on the drawing board. Okay, there's going to be more Ranker X, X-Rumor coming up. We're going to be going into GSA. I am also working on lists for GSA Search Engine Ranker, and I am looking to start with a similar kind of approach to provide a Web 2.0 or PBN platforms that you can add in with an API key, that I can provide you some really good sites in an automated fashion to make it easy for you to start getting involved with GSA Search Engine Ranker. As I always say, you need to get into it early because it takes a long time to master, but at the same time, it's the last tool you want to be bringing to bear on your efforts. But when you utilize it one piece at a time, you can use it very successfully. And I'm hoping to really lay out good strategies and approaches for different list management with GSA that, in a way that I realize no one has ever talked about or covered in any GSA Search Engine Ranker videos before. I also want to do videos on Rank Math for SEO, the plugin, because that's the one I use. I prefer it to Yoast, and I want to cover the Divi Builder from a development standpoint. It is my tool of choice, and one of the reasons it's my tool for development of choice is because I feel it's one of the most flexible for me to be able to do things with SEO behind the scenes. And I want to make a separate video about that as well. It is also the end of the month and the start of a new one. I'll be posting the new GSA website contact list for you guys that have subscribed. Should be pretty exciting. This list is going to be, the vast majority are Shopify, and I'm looking forward to see what the responses are going to be back from that. I'll post a video short as soon as that's available for release. I'm also going to have a new, a separate subscription, which is going to be about B2B databases, where I'm going to have actually downloadable industry segments. And these are for the guys that are not doing affiliate marketing, but rather they need specific industries. So I'm building quite a database, but we need a bit more, and those that subscribe will be able to request specific industry segments and even regions, and we'll be turning them over in about 72 hours. And those will just go into the pool that everyone else under that particular subscription type will be able to have access to as well. However, these won't be for affiliate marketing for guys to sort of try to promote products. Rather that these are for the guys that have a very specific product or business model that they need to promote to other specific types of industries. And so we'll handle that a little bit different. I don't have all the minutiae worked out about how the subscription is going to work yet, but it's coming soon. And we'll have some other things that'll be available for purchase soon. GSA Search Engine Ranker lists. And also, I'm going to be probably making available some nice money robot diagrams that you can for sale that will really enhance your money robot postings. And I'm working on some possible for some Ranker X as well. So, that being said, guys, one more thing. Now, guys, on this channel, I really try to lead you into backlinking with a safe, high-tech, smart approach. From how you develop your content to, you know, how you implement it in the process with these various softwares. However, a lot of you out there realize this is a whole nother animal to get involved with. You need professional backlinking services. You already have successful site or websites. Perhaps you're an SEO agency and you have clients that you would like to really put into this, but you need to do it in a safe, experienced fashion. Reach out to us at SEO Depot. We don't just provide backlinking services. We're not going to just take you and say, okay, here you go, we're going to make some backlinks, bada bing, bada boom, and watch the numbers go up. No. What we do is we get involved and take a good analysis of your website, properties, and what you have, and try to give you the best technical advice possible. In many cases, people have issues. We've helped them work out technical problems. One of my recent clients has increased his revenues 2.5 times in the last 6 months since he signed on with the services, both from the benefit of the backlinking services and just some good, solid direction and practices that help him improve his approach. And these are the type of services that we can bring to you and your clients safely, okay? Visit us at SEO Depot, because this type of thing isn't for everyone, but it is something that everyone needs. That being said, guys, if you like these videos, make sure you subscribe, give us a like. Don't forget to leave your question and comments, and feel free to join our Discord group, because here at Dark Marketing, the training is free. Guys, have a great weekend. Watch for the short and my next video.